What blizzard? It's only a couple of flakes. Rocky felt this epic snowstorm yesterday here in Philadelphia, and in a city that embraces the underdog, Temple tries its hand against unbeaten and 8th-ranked SMU here in the Liacouras Center. We welcome you to my home court. You're watching The American on ESPN. Ted Emmerich, Mark Wise, and Joe Lenardi with you. We check the standings in The American. SMU all alone at the top. Just a couple of games separating teams 2 through 8 in the conference. Temple right in the middle, tied for 3rd. And Mark, we know that SMU is banned from the postseason, but what a special ride it's been thus far.
Well, there's a lot to like about this SMU team. They have an older talent base. They start 2 seniors and 2 juniors, led by Nick Moore. They're unselfish. They are highly efficient on the offensive end, and the Mustangs are chasing the longest winning streak in school history. But Joe, along the way, they've had some close calls.
And nobody in any sport gets to the finish line of a perfect season without a narrow escape or 2. Today, it's up to the Temple Owls to give one to the Mustangs.
In that season full of upsets here in college basketball, SMU has been immune thus far. 27 times a ranked team in the AP Top 25 has lost just in the last 14 days, not to mention all the top 10 teams that have fallen. Temple controlling the tip. Obi Anechionia in the starting lineup for only the 11th time this year, taking a shot from the outside and missing. Here comes Sterling Brown for SMU. Nick Moore fires off the mark, and Temple controls the rebound with freshman Trey Lowe.
Now, both teams like to operate man-to-man on the defensive end.
DeCozy around and out, but an offensive rebound by Ernest Flackby, giving DeCozy a second shot at it, and he nails the long 2.
And usually it's SMU with those second chance opportunities, those second chance points.
Lineup change for SMU. Marcus Kennedy has the ball right there. Starting in his hometown of Philadelphia, the senior, his last chance to play in front of friends and family. He has about 40 friends and family on hand. Brown slashing into the lane, passing out to freshman Shake Milton. 8 on the timer. Ben Moore launching. And DeCozy controls for Temple. DeCozy, Temple's leading scorer, 5th in the American at 15.5 points per game. Jalen Bond for Temple is out today with a lower back injury. Lowe, no good from the elbow. Brown, another rebound for SMU. Hot pass to Cozy, the pass to Milton. Baseline drive off the side of the window, got his own miss and put it in.
Now that's that old hit the side of the backboard, get your own rebound play. Shake Milton, one of the impact freshmen in this conference.
He started the last 12 games now for SMU after initially coming off the bench.
One of the things to watch today, SMU will start man-to-man, but it's usually pretty soft. They cannot afford fouls. It will get better as the day goes on.
Late in the shot clock, Nick Moore with the steal for SMU. Ahead to Ben Moore. Ben Moore wanted the foul, you heard it. Instead, it's just 2, and SMU has its first lead.
SMU letting their defense speak for their offense. Their offense doesn't need a whole lot of help.
It sure doesn't. Very efficient, Mark. And then when they miss, which is rare enough, they're the best offensive rebounding team in the country. They get over 40% of their own misses. And think about all the extra possessions that gives an already potent unit.
Sterling Brown, a rare miss from the outside. 71% from three-point land this season. Didn't even catch the rim. Anechionia in too deep, passes out to a Flackby, the freshman, working against the senior Kennedy, put it over the top. SMU leads the American in 9 of 21 team statistical categories. The last remaining undefeated team in America.
Notice all the ball movement. There are just so few wasted dribbles in the SMU attack.
Kennedy could not convert over a Flackby. Cold start for both teams. This game postponed by 16 hours because of Winter Storm Jonas.
Oh, do we have some stories for you.
DeCozy. Kennedy with the rebound. Brown in transition, blocked by DeCozy, but a foul on the senior, Quentin DeCozy.
SMU not afraid to get the ball out. Watch Nick Moore's eyes. See him look ahead immediately. And there is the American Conference's most improved player. And then Sterling Brown in transition. Attacks the rim, gets to the free throw line, and you said it right. He very rarely misses from anywhere.
86% at the line, 70% from the field, second in the American only to Taco Fall of UCF, who stands 7 feet 6 inches.
I need a guy like that just to see over some of these snow drifts outside here today.
Joe's over here going, what snow?
Right. The mayor of Philadelphia, Joe Lunardi, at 22 inches, top 5 blizzard on
All
record
time.
in Philadelphia.
All
yes.
time. We were here.
But it's nothing to you, Joe.
Actually, I was just trying to envision what 7'6" would look like.
That might come up to, what, Taco Fall's knees? 22?
It's the first time that Temple's kind of got settled into their half-court attack.
Freshman against freshman. Lowe got the step on Milton, couldn't finish. Anecchione got a hand on it, and it's off SMU. Larry Brown, the head coach of the Mustangs in his 4th year, 41st overall as a head coach. And back in Philadelphia, of course, the former coach of the Sixers, led them to the NBA Finals in 2001, loves this city. And Joe, as you know, this city loves basketball, and they love Larry Brown.
What's his mantra? Play the right way, and he carried a team, obviously, of Allen Iverson and a bunch of role players, 2 of whom are on the respective benches. George Lynch on the SMU bench, and, of course, Aaron McKee for Temple.
A 6-2 lead for SMU, just over 4 minutes in. Mustangs looking to stay undefeated. 6-2 lead for undefeated SMU early here in Philadelphia. So glad you could join us. Ted Emmerich, Mark Wise, and Joe Lunardi with you. As we mentioned, an undefeated team in SMU. How can Temple play the role of Rocky and knock off an undefeated team?
Okay, so 40 years ago, let me get this right, an undefeated champion came to Philly to take on a local underdog. Does that sound familiar?
Yes.
Well, I'm calling it today the Rocky formula. And here's what Temple has to do, I think, in order to win and pull off this upset. It starts at the arc. They've got to win by the 3-point differential by at least 9 points. They've got to keep SMU off the offensive glass. And then somebody for Temple and Fran Dumpy have to give that X-factor performance. That's something special. Now, Joe, can Temple do that?
I think they can, but without Jalen Bond, extra difficult duty because he's such a force in and around the basket. I look for an X-factor offensively in the Owls, a guy like freshman Trey Lowe, playing with a lot more confidence. He can fill it up. Had a decent game the other night against LaSalle. He looks ready to break out to me, but this would be an awfully big stage in a big spot.
And that's the guy I think has to play well.
Yeah, Obi and Anecchione could certainly be an X-factor here in his sophomore season. Temple now just 2 of 10 from the floor. Ben Moore, hide the women and children.
It's a gamble defensively, did not pay off for Anecchione.
An 8-4 lead for SMU. Anecchione knocking down back-to-back shots. This one is a 3.
Well, he's the guy that Fran Dumpy wants more from. Wants a better motor. In his last 2 games, he only had 6 points and 4 rebounds combined.
Now a steal by Trey Lowe. And the freshman puts Temple in front. Moore around a screen by Ben Moore, and Nick silences the crowd here in Philadelphia along 2.
When we talked to Fran Dumpy yesterday at practice and asked what's at the top of the scouting report, he was not shy about saying it all starts with containing Nick Moore.
DeCozy on the baseline, no good. Rebound by Shake Milton for SMU. Across the floor, dangerous pass intercepted by Josh Brown, who hammers it.
Really uncharacteristic sloppiness for SMU in the backcourt. Moore telegraphing that pass, and you're right, it does all start with him. And that shot we had at the open of the guys pushing the bus, I noticed they didn't have him behind any tires.
Nick Moore off the pick and roll to Ben Moore. Picked up his own miss, and Ben Moore is fouled.
Again, get the ball up on the rim and go get it. Ben Moore, most improved play. Watch after this ill-advised attempt at the steal. Here's Ben Moore. Ooh, that's a one-handed schwackums. And then the steal by Joe's guy, Trey Lowe, in transition.
Ben Moore, as you mentioned, the most improved player in the American, averaging 13 points, 7.5 rebounds. Larry Brown says that he credits strength and conditioning coach Carlos Daniel, who spent the last 5 years in the NBA with the New Orleans Pelicans, helping Ben Moore develop.
Did a pretty good job with Anthony Davis.
I'd say so. SMU back in front, few lead changes here early in this first half. Josh Brown tees one up. Moore tapped it to Shake Milton. Trey Lowe tied him up. And it's off Milton. Temple ball.
I think this is a good call. Milton is pleading his case. But the quick hands defensively. Watch again, Trey Lowe. That ball definitely goes off the left foot of Milton out of bounds. That's a good call.
You had a pretty good view of it, Mark. You were closer to the ball than Lowe.
DeCozy for three, in and out. And a foul inside.
Yeah, I think this is on Ben Moore. Excuse me, I think it's Brown who got guilty of pushing off inside.
Sterling Brown's first.
But Ted, these are the kind of shots that I think Temple's got to make, these three-pointers that are pretty good looks.
How about the lob dunk?
And it went right through DeCozy's hands. Milton missing the layup, but SMU with another chance at it. Moore to Jordan Tolbert coming off the bench today, and Tolbert puts it in.
If you allow SMU to run their half-court sets, they are so difficult, hard to guard. Execution at an extreme high level.
Nick Moore, the league leader in assists, 5 per game, finding his teammate again. Annecchionia handing off to Trey Lowe. DeCozy thought about the deep three against Tolbert. Now attacks. He was fouled. He'll have 2 free throws.
Quentin DeCozy gives you about 7 different moves, all in one possession. Good ball reversal by the Owls to get the ball to DeCozy. Let's go earlier. There's that high-low look, that execution that we talk about, that SMU is so outstanding with.
Tolbert, of course, coming off the bench so the hometowner Marcus Kennedy can get the start. And that's double poison if you're scouting Temple's defensive options, because both of those guys can really go get it on the glass, especially Tolbert.
And as you mentioned, Joe, it hurts that Jalen Bond isn't available today with a lower back injury that he was fighting through over the last week. Played against LaSalle in a Big 5 matchup Wednesday. Temple's 4th win in the last 5 games. But Bond on the bench today. Jere Foster, a freshman, checking in and drawing a foul. Annecchionia came over to challenge along with a Flackby.
Take another look. Here's the freshman, Foster, who's kind of trying to figure out his role on this team. And with the drama of Keith Frazier behind SMU now, I think Larry Brown's he's going to look for more from Foster. He's going to expect more. He wants him to be more than just a fill-in guy.
Foster just a 44% foul shooter, and he hasn't performed well in conference play, averaging just 3 points, 26% shooting from the field. Missed them both.
Now that's what we call a bad miss.
I don't think the banks are open in Philadelphia after the storm.
Certainly not on a Sunday. Josh Brown, the first-year starter at point guard for Temple. The American leader in assist-to-turnover ratio. Annecchionia from the outside. Short, And Jordan Tolbert tracks down the rebound. Ben Moore against Anecchionia, as well as Devontae Watson. And a foul inside. Ben Moore will have free throws. A 2-point lead for undefeated SMU. Two-point lead for SMU here in Philadelphia Monday on ESPN and streaming live on Watch ESPN and the ESPN app. How about this big Monday doubleheader? Duke in Miami in the ACC. Duke just ended its 3-game losing streak yesterday with a win over NC State. And then off to Hilton Coliseum, Kansas and Iowa State at 9 Eastern. Ted Emmerich, Mark Wise, Joe Lenardi with you. Glad you're with us here at the Liacouras Center in Philadelphia. Just a moment ago, as SMU has a 14-12 lead with 11:31 remaining in the first half. You were in the SMU huddle during the timeout.
It was almost like a mini clinic. Larry Brown, who might be in the elder parts of his coaching career, I mean, he went over a little bit of everything in terms of talking about long shots, long rebounds, meaning Temple's missing threes. You got to go rebound. He had individual moments with his 2 freshmen, both Foster and Milton, talking to them about slowing down. So a lot of different topics in the timeout by Larry Brown.
A frenetic pace so far, even though both teams haven't shot it that well. Temple, for instance, 5 of 17 from the floor, 1 of 8 from 3. Anecchionia on the drive. And Jere Foster was trying to draw the charge. Instead, it's a blocking foul.
This is the hardest call of all, is the block charge. I don't care how you define it. I like the aggressiveness that Anecchionia has come out with today. I think he knows that Jalen Bond is not probably going to play. They're going to need more from him. Take a look at the Owl bench.
It's Daniel Dingle coming off. We'll check in after that free throw by Anecchionia. Jalen Bond unavailable with a lower back injury. So Temple is having to dig deep into its bench to try to replace that production. Bond averaging a double-double over the last 5 games. SMU by 1. Milton. Off the mark, Devontae Watson used very little this year in his senior season, came up with the rebound.
They need him today.
Devin Coleman, who can be a spark off the bench, is in for Temple. Here's Cozy trying to drive against Foster, and it's another foul on the freshman Jere Foster.
Well, that's going to be a tough matchup. Take another look. Cozy, who can play at different speeds. That's an easy call. Foster reaches in, protect the guy with the ball on the perimeter. That's one of the new directives.
Wide open three. And Devin Coleman buries him.
Maybe the streakiest shooter in the American Conference. I know one thing, he loves playing against Cincinnati, because in 2 games against Cincinnati, Coleman from bonus land is 9 for 17.
He helped Temple sweep the Bearcats this season. Kennedy, double, able to maneuver through past Watson, missed the shot. DeCozy called for the carry, a turnover. It's SMU ball.
This is Coleman on the weak side on the out under. SMU late on the closeout.
Mark, do you think the new rules and the emphases are working?
I do, very much so. I think possessions are up, and that has to do with the shot clock. Scoring is up, and that has to do with more possessions and a few more fouls. But the free throw attempts, they're in line with everything else.
Offensive foul on Daniel Dingle. Nick Moore hit the deck and drew the charge.
There's that guy again, Nick Moore. I call him the what do you need guy. You need a little offense, he'll give you that. You need some assists, he'll give you that. You need a clutch shot, yeah, he'll deliver. But he'll also step in and make the gutty play, take the charge.
A couple of years ago, this league had a guy named Shabazz Napier. Similar player, pretty good outcome.
Moore, the reigning American All-American Player of the Year is headed to the free throw line.
Fearless in his ability to get to the free throw line, attack the bigs. Over 1,600 career points now for Nick Moore. A career 42% shooter from the arc.
Moore was the one who spoke up at the half Tuesday night when SMU and Houston were tied at 34 in Dallas. Moore said, hey, this is about having fun. There's no pressure on us. Forget about the undefeated season. Let's go out and have fun. And SMU was able to pick up the victory. Tie game with 9.5 minutes to go in the first half. Dingle off the bounce, kicking out to Brown. DeCozy for three. Yes, sir!
Well, we talked about SMU sharing the ball. That was a great illustration of Temple making the extra pass.
Jure Foster putting it in reverse for SMU.
Part of their action when they initiate, almost every time there's a backdoor quick hitter that you must be aware of.
DeCozy wants another three. Not this time. Milton the board for SMU. Moore finding Shake Milton on the perimeter. Dancing through the floater. Off the heel of the rim. Dingle snatches the rebound for Temple. Coleman, his second three.
Sometimes your best threes come before the defense can get set. I like the push up the floor, the quick action by Temple.
Kennedy, the lob to Tolbert, he couldn't finish. Brown, teardrop. Marcus Kennedy with the rebound. Crowd wanted to travel, they'll get a tie-up. It'll stay with SMU thanks to the alternating possession. Devin Coleman with a couple of threes, and Temple has a 4-point lead over unblemished SMU. Temple by 4 here in the first half. This game pushed back 16 hours because of Winter Storm Jonas and how it hammered the eastern United States. Well, SMU's bus was affected. Mustangs' arrival to practice yesterday delayed because the bus got stuck turning. Players got out, pushed the bus. Assistant George Lynch even grabbed a 2x4 to stick it under a wheel so that the bus could gain traction. Ben Moore with some snow angels too.
But like we said, nobody had Nick Moore pushing the bus. Larry Brown didn't make all those Hall of Fame levels and win those championships by being a dummy.
It does not measure up to the Duquesne story, being stranded for 30 hours on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, but SMU had their own bus troubles here in the blizzard in Philadelphia. Mustangs down by 4 coming out of the timeout. Marcus Kennedy, the Philadelphia native, no. Tolbert, an offensive rebound, the best offensive rebounder in the American. Milton for 3, got it.
Again, the best threes come in transition or after offensive rebounds when the defense is scattered. SMU is marvelous at offensive rebounding.
And they've got a guy pretty good at the drive and kick as well.
Dingle racing up against Kennedy, spinning against the senior, and Dingle drops it in.
Well, with Kennedy and Tolbert on the floor at the same time, that means one of them has to guard a perimeter player. And that time it was Kennedy. Well, they're getting the ball awfully deep, awfully consistent.
Kennedy working against Devontae Watson, passing across the post, the extra pass by Ben Moore to Tolbert for the flush.
Jordan Tolbert.
We talked about this team being unselfish. One of the characteristics, all of the SMU bigs are marvelous passers.
And they're unselfish because, in part because Larry Brown forces them to play that way, and you add those two elements together, good passing and a willingness to do so, get a lot of layups.
Over on the drive, kicking out to Milton. No surprise that SMU leads the conference, 18 assists per game. Quentin DeCozy comes away with it for Temple. Owls nursing a 1-point lead, under 6 minutes to go in the first half. And DeCozy puts it in, plus the foul.
The guy that's really offensive-minded. DeCozy is capable of giving you 20 plus on any given night. Take a look, measuring off the dribble, never in a hurry. He's one of those guys that I've always thought, Joe, you look at the box score at the end of the game, and DeCozy's got 18 points, and you don't remember any of them.
Well, if the Owls are going to maintain a lead here today and pull off the huge upset, he's going to need to get at least that many, and they can't be quiet. They need offense today. They don't have Bond, of course, and his offensive rebounding, production around the goal. DeCozy's got to shoot them to an upset if it's going to happen.
If Temple were to get this today, how far away are they from the bubble then?
They're about 25 spots away from a serious conversation now, Mark. I think, obviously, this win would be enormous. Not as enormous as it would, let's say, coming on the road, but still would put Temple on the consideration board and bring into play their 2 wins against Cincinnati and their win at UConn. They've got some nice victories and some big opportunities coming up. You know, the #1 team in the RPI, Villanova, comes in here for a non-league game, and that's a Philly Big Five game. Nobody in this town would be surprised if Temple won that one.
This would be Temple's 3rd win over a ranked team. The other 2 have come in conference play. As you mentioned, against Cincinnati when they were still in the top 25, as well as UConn.
Temple's early schedule was brutal in terms of the teams they played and lost to, in terms of North Carolina and so forth. Butler, Utah.
They tried to schedule the Spurs. San Antonio was unavailable. But that's always been the Temple way, going back to John Chaney. Anybody, anywhere, home, away, whatever. And they've gotten a lot of NCAA tournament bids with that formula.
By the way, the great John Chaney turned 84 years old on Thursday. Dingle muscling through, double clutching and putting it in.
I didn't know Dingle had that kind of ability to score off the bounce on his own. But there's the answer guy.
You know Nick Moore is capable of that. Trey Lowe the other way. Couldn't lay it in. Alston, a steal. Back to Lowe.
Well, I'm shocked at SMU's number of turnovers. Temple is really being opportunistic with their defense.
Moore bumped by Dingle on the outside.
Fouls on number 4, Daniel Dingle. That's his 2nd.
SMU has 5 turnovers today. It feels like more.
Substitutions.
Well, this is the danger also of playing SMU with so many good free throw shooters. There's the steal, 94 feet away from SMU's basket, which leads to the easy deuce.
Nick Moore, the engine of the Mustangs, at the line. 1-1. 6th in the American at 82% from the free throw line.
At the top, we talked about SMU has an older talent base. They're not going to panic. And then we showed you the close calls that Joe talked about. They've been in a few of these kinds of situations.
And they've been in this exact situation all 3 meetings between the 2 teams last year. The Owls had a second-half lead. SMU won all 3. As big a reason as any why Temple was the first team out of last year's NCAA field.
Quentin DeCozy said it. We owe them against SMU this year. With 5 on the shot clock, Mark Williams denied by Tolbert. Here comes Nick Moore for SMU. Pulling it up, dropping off, looking for Foster. A scrum. And a double dribble. A turnover.
Yeah, one of the few mistakes you'll see from Nick Moore. He got up in the air, didn't know what he was going to do with it, and Ben Moore almost bailed him out.
SMU went 3-0 against Temple last year, twice in the regular season, then a win in the tournament semifinals. Temple had at least a 10-point lead in all 3 matchups, twice in the second half.
And Mark Williams just 3 for 19 from bonus land. I'm not sure that's the shot that Fran Dunphy wants.
Tolbert off the glass and in. SMU within 2.
You know, Ted, SMU's not had any problem getting the ball inside. They just haven't been able to finish. And you would think with Bond out of the game, those points would be easier to come by.
Was thinking the same thing, Mark. Tolbert backing down the smaller defender there, and maybe the first and clearest example of where the Owls missed Jalen Bond, who's a linebacker in a basketball uniform.
Anecchionia with the quick step inside, and Anecchionia will have free throws for Temple. The Owls lead unbeaten SMU by 2. Jordan Tolbert and the Mustangs looking to push it to 19-0. Here in Philadelphia, Quentin DeCozy trying to will the Owls to a signature win, Mark.
He can impact the game in several different ways. Second chance opportunities. He's got a great mid-range game. He also is asked for this team to not only rebound, but to defend. But his best quality may be his ability to create his own off-the-bounce, fearless competitor. He's leading the Owls already with 9.
DeCozy third in the American at 17 points a game in conference play. He's picked up his production since the league schedule began. Obi Anecchionia has free throws for Temple. Out of the official timeout, Owls by 2 late first half.
And guys, I really think this is an important 3 minutes, how Temple finishes the half. I mean, they've kind of shown so far, okay, we're in the game now, but can they continue that into the locker room?
If they were to play this stretch, you know, poorly, Mark, could be down 5 or 6 after playing so well, you know, then it's very deflating. So I think you're dead on.
Temple is led by as many as 6. There have been 6 lead changes so far today. Nick Moore couldn't hit the 3. Trey Lowe gathers in the rebound for Temple. Here's DeCozy. He's got the height advantage against Nick Moore. Posting him up, fading away. Shake Milton has the rebound. Kennedy posting up against Watson, off the glass, plus the foul.
Again, watch how low Kennedy catches the ball. He's almost got 2 feet into the paint. That's in the scoring zone for the bigs. And he absorbs the contact, has the ability to finish off the glass.
Kennedy's first points here in his visit to his hometown of Philadelphia. Kennedy was recruited by Temple coming out of high school, chose Villanova, then transferred to SMU after his freshman season. Couldn't finish the three-point play, but it's off Temple. Devontae Watson was trying to chase it down. It's off Watson, and SMU takes over.
Well, that's a difficult ball to rebound when it comes out long like that.
Foster triggers into Nick Moore. SMU can take the lead. Milton launching, left it short.
He didn't really look like he was set. Kind of fumbled the ball on his way up.
Coleman has a pair of threes already. Give him 3.
Basket, Devin Cole.
I talked about Temple needs an X-factor guy. Is Coleman playing that role?
9 points, all from the perimeter for Coleman. Tolbert to travel.
Violation.
Under the screen goes Milton. That allows Coleman to eye the basket. Milton with what I call a little parade wave closeout instead of being more aggressive.
Coleman started the first 12 games of the season for Temple. He's come off the bench the last 6, and Fran Dunphy says he is best suited for that role. A microwave coming into the game as a reserve. Coleman, how about another?
Oh my goodness!
Are you serious? Temple has its largest lead. Kennedy turns it over. DeCozy snakes through, sets up Dingle for another triple. Timeout SMU.
Dingle makes just his 5th 3-ball on the season. But Temple is riding bonus land to a 10-point advantage.
Temple's lead is swelled to 10 with 1:14 to go in the first half. Fran Dunphy pleased, no doubt. Coming up on the Land Rover halftime report, Adnan Virk and LaFonso Ellis will have highlights from all the action yesterday. Plus, we'll have a little bracketology in the American with Joe Lenardi.
Well, I've got so many questions for Joe at halftime.
Well, SMU has a lot of questions to answer right now in the last minute of the half. Tolbert fouled on the drive. That's against Devontae Watson. 10th team foul. So SMU is in the double bonus. Tolbert with 2 free throws upcoming.
Jordan Tolbert, shooting 2. Substitution.
Coming up on Tuesday, Super Tuesday, presented by Hotels.com on ESPN. A great doubleheader. First at 7 Eastern, Yogi Ferrell and number 25 Indiana facing Wisconsin. Then at 9, Ben Simmons leading LSU against Georgia. Tolbert missing the second, but an offensive rebound leads to Marcus Kennedy's jam.
That is an awfully quick spin move baseline side. Temple could go and should go 2 for 1 here to close the half, but they're going to wait too long, I'm afraid.
Coleman driving through, kicking out to DeCozy. Dingle hit a 3 before the timeout. He hits another. Back to a 10-point advantage for the Owls. SMU holding for the last shot. Kennedy throws it up. And Temple will have it with 3.7 seconds remaining. Fran Dunphy calls a 30-second timeout for Temple.
I've been really impressed with Temple's interior defense. SMU's not had any trouble getting the ball inside. They just have not been able to finish.
Temple by 10, and we check the American standings yet again. The 7 teams behind SMU. Of course, the Mustangs stand atop the mountain, but everyone else is fighting for the 1 seed in the conference tournament because SMU is banned from the postseason.
Yeah, this is really not a fight for second. This is a fight for first.
And it's a fight to stay in positive at-large consideration. Cincinnati, UConn, Memphis, Houston, Temple with an upset today would be in the mix. And the league leader, Central Florida, they get slotted as the automatic, at least for the time being. It's going to be very interesting in this conference over the next 6 or 7 weeks.
Plenty of time to get a good look.
3.7 seconds. They have to go the length of the floor. Foster a steal for SMU. Missed the fadeaway. Tolbert tried to tip it home, but Temple heads into the locker room with a 10-point lead over Nick Moore and the undefeated SMU Mustangs. Our score, Temple 44, SMU 34. And coming up after the break, we will join Adnan Virk and LaFonso Ellis in the studio with the Land Rover halftime report. Here in snow cover at Philadelphia, Temple has put SMU, the last remaining unbeaten team in the country, at least knee-deep in snow. A 10-point lead as they get ready for the start of the second half here at the Liacouras Center. This is the American Conference on ESPN. Ted Emmerich, Mark Wise, Joe Lenardi with you. Glad you could join us in this game. Postponed 16 hours because of Winter Storm Jonas. One thing we heard yesterday from Fran Dunphy, Temple's head coach, we have to play with a sense of urgency. I think we're seeing that so far today.
Well, at the top we talked about that Temple had to win the Battle of the Arc. Well, the Owls have done that in a big-time way, and it's gotten contagious throughout the team. We talked about having an X-Factor performance. I think Temple's gotten two of them. One from Devin Cole, whose threes keep getting further and further out on the floor, but then Dingle also gets into the act. Those two guys are in double figures.
It's the great equalizer, right? SMU comes in as a top 10 three-point shooting team. Temple about 280th. Can it keep up for 20 more minutes? The numbers would say no. But the history of college basketball in this city disagrees.
The thing about points in the paint there, Temple is close enough. And Fran Dunphy's team has won the three-point differential in the first 20 minutes by a whopping 21 points.
There was a game earlier this year, December 23rd. SMU beat Colorado, even though the Mustangs did not hit a three, and the Buffaloes nailed 12 of them. They can't afford that kind of margin again today in conference play. That's what it is so far. Temple has it to start the second half. Again, the Owls without their big man, Jalen Bond, because of a back injury. Cozy was going to force it up. Ben Moore got a hand on it, out of bounds, and it'll stay with Temple.
I like the no call there because it was DeCozy who forced that issue.
There's Bond, averaging a double-double the last 5 games for the Owls. But he's just a cheerleader. 3 to shoot. Brown puts it up. A Flackby tipped it, but Marcus Kennedy controlled it for SMU. Nick Moore, the leading scorer for SMU in the first half with 8 points. Nobody in double figures yet. Brown, look at the post passing, but Kennedy had his shot rejected. DeCozy on the move. High archer, Noah Flackby. A second opportunity, and the freshman from Ghana is fouled.
When we talked with Fran Dunphy yesterday, he was quick to point out that his team is getting better, and he pointed specifically to a Flackby. How about impacting the game on both ends of the floor, first with the block and then with the offensive rebound?
Dunphy says that a Flackby is as spirited a player as he has on this team, making his 4th consecutive start. Doesn't play heavy minutes, but he's giving a lot of hustle plays and contributions in the post for Temple.
Said he's the right kind of selfish. He thinks every rebound belongs to him.
Ernest Flackby on the board now, and Temple stretching out the lead to 12. Kennedy back in his hometown of Philadelphia against a Flackby, off the glass and in.
Now that time he took away the space of the shot blocker, attacked the defender.
Marcus Kennedy up to 6 points today. Quentin DeCozy trying to maneuver through Brown, and Kennedy lost control of it. Here comes SMU with numbers. Shake Milton. No good on the 3. Kennedy chases down an offensive board. Brown rising up. And for 2, Sterling Brown now with 4 points.
Seems like such a simple thing, but that offensive rebound that Kennedy chased down leads to that second chance opportunity.
43% of available offensive rebounds go to SMU. Amazing.
For a team that's efficient to begin with.
Temple has a second chance because of their own offensive rebound. Trey Lowe from the perimeter, too strong. And Sterling Brown snares the rebound. Milton had 5 points and 6 rebounds in the first half. Kennedy. Long range 2, no, but a whistle in the post.
Let's go back and take another look at this high-low look. Kennedy misses the jumper. Temple with the easy rebound, but Kennedy looks to a teammate, looks over at the bench, and it's kind of that atmosphere that you're sensing now. Might there be a moment when SMU starts looking at the scoreboard?
I haven't seen it yet.
Sterling Brown from the corner, no good. And Josh Brown secures the rebound for Temple. Obi Anechionia checked out. He has 3 personal fouls. Daniel Dingle is back in for Temple. Well, Larry Brown said it for SMU last Sunday against Tulane. That's the first time he thought that his team was thinking about the undefeated record. Flackby inside drawing another foul. And he'll be rewarded with free throws. SMU was able to pull away from the Green Wave in New Orleans, 60-45. Another tough game against Houston, and Nick Moore's halftime speech was supposed to rally SMU out of that mindset. Hey, quit thinking about the record. But down by 10 at the half, you wonder what was going on in the locker room today. Flackby wears a brace on his right knee, tore his meniscus last year, his senior year at Archbishop Carroll here in Philadelphia. Almost redshirted this season, but pleaded his case to Fran Dunphy so he could stay on the floor. Brown shoots it inside to Ben Moore, and a foul. This will go against Dingle.
I think SMU's got to get Nick Moore more involved. And I know as a small guard, it's hard to find shots. I'd like to see them do more things for him.
Takes the inbounds pass from Sterling Brown. Ben Moore touches it to Kennedy. Misfired. Tapped out to Brown.
Mark, I think the only thing holding Nick Moore back is Nick Moore today. He's a guy who can get his own shot off the dribble pretty much any time. And I suspect if this game stays like this, he'll start to look to take over.
DeCozy challenged by Sterling Brown, but the foul will go against Nick Moore.
Fouls adding up quickly here for SMU in the second 20.
13 foul already, not even 4 minutes in. DeCozy knocks down the first.
Joe, you've seen
coming in. Sorry.
Excuse me, Ted. You've seen a lot of teams have to deal with weather issues. When you're on the road like SMU, does it play a factor?
I don't think it's the weather. I think it's the sitting around for an extra day. I mean, it's just, you know, what did you guys do yesterday? What did I do? You know, look out the window and fidget.
Well, in SMU's case, they push buses just to get to practice. DeCozy came up with a steal, but a whistle. It'll stay with SMU. DeCozy stepped out.
Fran Dunphy saying he wanted DeCozy to be a more complete player, to play on both ends of the floor. He almost anticipated that pass and shot the gap.
Speaking of Dunphy, what do you do when you're snowed in? You stay here. Dunphy sleeping here at the Liacouras Center overnight, Friday night and last night. He says he watched extra film, caught some of the games on the ESPN family of networks, ordered some wings. What else are you going to do?
Well, if it were the fall, he'd work on his lesson plans.
Well, he is a co-professor of a class in the Fox School of Business here at Temple. Management Theory and Practice. From the locker room to the boardroom, 9th semester. He just completed that in the fall, teaching that class. Nick Moore stepping back over Brown, and a Flackby.
On cue from Joe Lenardi.
Shot clock did not reset.
It stayed at 8 seconds after the made bucket. So the officials will sort that out. And we have an official timeout. With under 16 minutes to play, Nick Moore and the Mustangs trying to climb out of what has been a 12-point deficit. Will Nick Moore start to take over? SMU is trying to turn what is a lost season into an unforgettable one. Late September, the NCAA coming down hard on Larry Brown and the program for an academic violation. Banned from the postseason, losing scholarships. Brown couldn't coach the first 9 games of the season, totally disconnected from the program. But SMU was 9-0 without him, 13-0 with Brown. And here they are, down by 9 against Temple, with 15:47 remaining.
Joe, if they were eligible, what seed line would they fall on?
They've been at the bottom of the 2 line for about a week, floating between the 2 and the 3 lines since the holidays, guys. And I think what's also important to note is it's no less of a huge win for the team that beats them. That team isn't on probation, so they get all those power points from the upset if it should happen.
Tolbert around Anecchionia, finishing. SMU within 7. Now the best the Mustangs can do is another regular season championship in the American. They're striving for that. They want to be remembered for something other than just being that team that was ineligible for postseason play. Coleman regained control for Temple. 4 of 4 from outside the arc in the first half. Takes one inside the arc, and he's still perfect.
Offensive machine. What a punch off the bench.
14 points for Coleman to lead all scorers. Milton looking for Ben Moore on the block. Passing out, Sterling Brown, 7 on the shot clock. Lost the handle. Ben Moore picks it up and drops it in.
Oh, that's a possession that gets a credit for a little bit of being lucky.
Anecchionia spinning into Tolbert, couldn't convert, got his own miss, and he's fouled.
If there's been a real surprise to me in this game, it's Temple's bigs in the absence of Bond. Watch how deep SMU catches the ball. When Tolbert has almost both feet in the paint, you have no chance as a defender. You've got to do your work much earlier.
Anecchionia just 2 of 5 from the foul line today. He has 7 points.
Substitution for the house, number 23,
Devontae Watson comes back in, one of those bigs seldom used this season, the senior from Ambridge, Pennsylvania. Jalen Bond, just a spectator today with a lower back injury. Brown cutting in against DeCozy and lays it in against the grain with his right hand. DeCozy watched by Tolbert. Thought about the 3, passed it up. Now DeCozy loads up. Left it short. Moore, pull-up 3. In and out. And Watson secures the rebound, battling against Tolbert.
Might be a big trip for Temple here.
Mark Williams, no. But an offensive rebound. Temple has had several of those today, and Williams cashes in on the second chance.
These are bonus points for Temple.
I mean, look at who produced it. Watson with a rebound. He's got 3 in the game. That's as many as he's had all season. He's played more minutes than he has in the whole season combined, and then Watson picks it up for him at the other end.
Back-to-back hoops now for Sterling Brown.
Showing a feather-like touch. SMU within 6. Temple has led by as many as 12 here early in the second half. Josh Brown hasn't been much of a scorer so far today. 8 on the timer. Williams makes his move. Praised the rim. Nick Moore crouches down to pick up the rebound. Brown attacking again, laying it in reverse side. 3 straight buckets for Sterling Brown. SMU within 4.
What I like, if you're having trouble in the half court, push the ball. Fran Dunphy needs a timeout.
With 12:18 to go, Larry Brown and the Mustangs have cut this deficit.
In transition, Sterling Brown with 3 straight hoops. SMU making their first run.
It's a complicated bracket forecast for the American this year, and not just because SMU is ineligible. No one has really separated from the pack. UConn, we've currently got in the field guys as a 9. Cincinnati, one of the last 4 in. They're rolling today against Tulane. UCF, the league leader for the moment. That's not likely to hold, but can a Tulsa, can a Temple step up to give this league more bubble teams? I guess we'll find out over the next 6 or 7 weeks.
One of the questions I wanted to ask you today, is there a Joe Lunardi eyeball test?
There is, but I'm not a big eye test guy. I think when you play 30 or 35 games, the results should speak for themselves more than whether or not you look like a team that belongs in the tournament.
Love having Joey brackets here in Philadelphia. Josh Brown from the perimeter. Another 3 for Temple. 9 in the game.
Such a good decision by DeCozy. He was surrounded by blue jerseys.
Moore slicing against an Echionia, and Ben Moore is headed to the line. That's now 4 on an Echionia for Temple. Just a moment ago, Quentin DeCozy able to pass out to Josh Brown. Temple hitting from the outside. They have a 7-point lead. Tonight at 11 Eastern on ESPN, don't miss Sports Center at night. John Butchergross and John Anderson will have the highlights from NFL Championship Sunday, all the breakdowns as well. End your day on the highlights. Sports Center at night, also streaming live on Watch ESPN and the ESPN app. Temple up 7 over SMU here at the Liacouras Center in Philadelphia. Just moments ago, where was Mark Wise? Well, you were in the huddle with Fran Dunphy and the Temple Owls.
Fran Dunphy talking to his team about individual defense. He's seeing the same things that we are. As SMU is starting to drive the ball to the rim, and so he wants individual defense to get better. And on offense, he talked about clean catches. And what he means by that is guys have to work harder to get open so that you can catch the ball clean where they want to catch it, not where the SMU defense wants you to catch the ball.
Ben Moore at the line for SMU out of the timeout. Moore with 9 points to go with just 2 rebounds. SMU 5th in the country in rebounding margin, but today against Temple, just +2 in that department. And that's Temple again without the injured Jalen Bond. Nick Moore stepped on the sideline, turning it over to Temple.
But to your point, I think that's the 3rd time SMU has rebounded after a free throw miss today. You cannot give them multiple looks.
And 9 times out of 10, Nick Moore's going to get an open 3 from the corner. Just lost track of where he was on the floor.
Devin Coleman has not missed a shot today for Temple. 4 of 4 from long range. Foul away from the ball. Joe DeRosa says it's a push on Nick Moore. That's number 2 on the star point guard. And Josh Brown will inbound from the baseline. Feeding it into the post. Mark Williams looking to pass out. Ben Moore had him smothered. And Marcus Kennedy came up with the steal. Ben Moore didn't like the look against Dingle. Brown likes the look from 3. Shot it over the top. Ben Moore, an offensive rebound. Into Kennedy, missed the shot. Another chance, and Ben Moore cleans it up.
Again, the SMU bigs are just relentless on the glass.
Josh Brown fouled by Nick Moore. That's 3 on Moore.
We talk about SMU's bigs and their ability to anticipate where shots are going to be. After the miss, the inside look, the block, and yet Ben Moore is still able to follow in all of that mess with the hoop.
Quentin DeCozy, wide open look for 3.
That's a breakdown defensively. SMU had zoned on the out under. Simple ball reversal.
Temple by 7, approaching the midway mark of the second half. Milton has room to create. And this is a foul on Mark Williams of Temple.
Joe, I think it's pretty obvious to me the adjustment that Larry Brown has told his team is to drive the ball to the rim.
Absolutely. Temple not a great shot blocking team. Obviously, they're missing their bulkiest post player in Jalen Bond.
SMU outscoring Temple, points in the paint 32-16.
And there's no downside, Mark, for SMU, because even if they miss, they're probably going to get the rebound. It's kind of the Moses Malone approach.
Here, rare minutes for SMU. Nick Moore at the top of your screen goes to the bench for a breather.
Moore third in the American in minutes played, averaging 33 a game, but with 3 personals, he takes a seat.
I don't know where his seat will end up being, but it will not be warm very long, I promise you.
DeCozy driving in and hammering it. Tolbert in the lane for SMU.
Mustangs are just trying to play smash mouth hoops.
Mark Williams unloading from distance.
Joe Lenardi said at halftime, it's the great equalizer. The Rocky formula alive and well in Philadelphia.
Temple 11 of 24 from outside the arc. Kennedy in the paint, no. Jere Foster couldn't convert. Ball is loose. Foster secures it. SMU will reset. Again without Nick Moore for the time being.
Temple settles into a 2-3. This is very rare for Fran Duffy. Doesn't play it a lot.
Kennedy, nice feed to Tolbert, and a foul. It's on Dingle. That's number 4 on the junior from the Bronx.
Again, the SMU bigs are as creative and effective as passers as they are scorers.
I've been impressed seeing them in person, Mark. They're also better off the bounce than I had really seen previously.
Sterling Brown triggering in to Shake Milton. Nick Moore still on the bench. Milton falling away, couldn't get the shooter's bounce. Tolbert tapped it out of bounds. Temple ball.
Would have been SMU's 4th offensive rebound on that trip.
I know this, guys. You're not going to beat SMU trying to limp to the finish line. You better sprint through it.
Coleman. My goodness. 5 for 5 from 3. Six on the shot clock for Foster, driving the baseline. Offensive foul.
Well, this is what happens when your team leader is on the bench with fouls. It's not the same fluid offensive group. And no sooner than I speak that, than here comes number 11.
Larry Brown wasn't going to wait any longer. Marcus Kennedy and Jeray Foster check out. Temple has led by as many as 12. 9 at the moment with under 8 minutes to play. DeCozy with Tolbert on him. Looking to make his move. 7 to shoot for Coleman. How about number 6?
My goodness!
Timeout SMU. Temple has built its largest lead.
Temple continues to amaze from both inside and out. But it's been the Devin Coleman show all day long from bonus land. 6 for 6, and Temple up 14.
Temple has its largest lead here in Philadelphia, 71-57 over SMU. Devin Coleman has been out of his mind.
Well, it doesn't matter. Left side of the floor, right side of the floor, in transition on the half court, facing up with a defender in his hand, moving out further. Devin Coleman, in all kinds of ways today, has been simply perfect for the Owls.
Temple only has 2 more baskets than SMU in this game, Ted, but they've got a dozen more three-pointers, 13-1. It ties the most triples in a game for the Owls this year. Obviously a career high in threes for Devin Coleman, and when you're trading 2s for 3s and that's all you're getting, that's not a good formula.
SMU just 1 of 9 from outside the arc. The formula for the Mustangs has been pounding it inside with their big men, but Coleman continues to connect from the outside. Temple by 14, and SMU and their undefeated record in serious jeopardy. Tolbert in the lane.
But like Joe said, if you're going to trade 2s for 3s, you're going to come out on the losing end. That's really a tough finish that time by Tolbert.
Trey Lowe hanging out in the corner. Back into the hands of Coleman. Lowe, the freshman, had the step on Ben Moore. Reverse side and high off the window.
I said Temple needs an X-Factor performance. They're getting about 4 of them today.
DeCozy trying to save it. Out of bounds to SMU.
The drive, baseline side, splits defenders off the window. Pretty impressive move by the freshman.
More off the screen by Tolbert. Bricked it. Josh Brown the rebound. DeCozy moving swiftly, but it'll head the other way. An offensive foul as Nick Moore hit the floor.
This is one of the directives, the blind screen, where the defender has no chance. Mark Williams set a vicious screen on Nick Moore.
Moore and the Mustangs down by 14. Temple coming in, having won 4 of 5, playing their best basketball of the season, and challenging SMU to the fullest. Nick Moore, Trey Lowe ripping at it. Temple with the steal. Josh Brown ahead to Lowe for the throwdown.
The Mustangs are in big time trouble.
Moore fumbled the pass. Another turnover for SMU. That's 12 in the game. This crowd buried underneath snow in Philadelphia over the weekend, getting into it now. 5 to shoot for the Owls. Coleman, lucky number 7!
This is one of the best shooting exhibitions I've ever seen.
Ben Moore responds for SMU. But it's a 17-point lead for Temple, approaching the 5-minute mark. Devin Coleman has 23 points. He's 7 of 7 from long range. And even getting his name chanted here in the Liacouras Center. 3 to shoot low, a deep 3. That one didn't fall, but a foul as Sterling Brown came up with a rebound.
In a season where everything has gone right for Larry Brown's team, it's all going right for Fran Dunphy's team. The steal, the easy run out, the freshman with the one-handed flush. And then Coleman with the quick release off the handoff. Again, the defender goes under. Larry Brown not happy with his club.
DeCozy at the line, shooting 1 and 1, missed the front end. SMU will Hurley. Sterling Brown taking it himself, missed the shot, able to take advantage and put it down, plus the foul. A potential 3-point play for Sterling Brown.
Well, what's important to remember if you're SMU, there are no 12, 13-point plays. They're going to have to grind away some possessions, get some scores, and combine that with stops.
Brown caps it. 14. That's the margin with 4.5 to go.
And SMU is not a pressing team. Don't you have to get Coleman a look?
DeCozy wants it himself, battling against Sterling Brown. 7 to shoot. Here's Josh Brown. Around Williams. 3 on the timer. Williams hoisting. Tolbert snatches the rebound. Here comes SMU picking up the pace. Shake Milton for 3.
SMU's made 2 3 balls. Milton's made them both.
SMU on a mini run now to slice into the deficit. It was 19. It's 11. Coleman gives it up to Josh Brown. Guarded tightly by Nick Moore. Brown, too much on the lay-in. Nick Moore to Ben Moore. In the paint, off the mark. Tolbert converts on the offensive rebound.
I think Temple needs a timeout. They look gassed to me.
SMU within single digits. And there's the timeout mark. Fran Dunphy's Owls led by 19 moments ago. But SMU is going to go down without a fight. Their undefeated record at stake. Big Monday coming your way tomorrow on ESPN. Also streaming live on Watch ESPN and the ESPN app. Top 25 doubleheader, first at 7 Eastern, Duke and Miami. Then in Ames, Iowa State looking for more Hilton magic as number 3 Kansas pays a visit. All on ESPN. Oh, 40 years ago, it was Rocky here in Philadelphia, and let's revisit the Rocky formula, Mark Wise.
Well, they've won the 3-point differential in such a big way, it's offset the second one. But that X-Factor performance, Coleman, 23 points, but you could add Dingle, Williams, 38 bench points for the Owls.
Coleman 7 for 7 from 3, the only Temple player ever to equal that. Pepe Sanchez 7 for 7 from beyond back in '97. Turnover here though.
Fran Dunphy isn't one of the 5 on the court. He could play in his day at LaSalle, but he doesn't have a uniform on. SMU has scored the last 10 points. They're within single digits with 2:50 to play. Ben Moore dribbled it off his left knee. And Temple is content to bleed clock. 2.5 to go.
But you have to decide at some point in time to be aggressive. Don't let the shot clock dictate your quality of shot.
Coleman with a travel.
I thought that was a good call.
Yep.
Took an extra pivot to get away from the defender.
He was ready to launch again. 7 for 7 from 3 is Coleman. He'll stay in the game as Temple sends in 2 reserves. Obi and Echionyu is playing with 4 personals, and Daniel Dingle also with 4 fouls. Marcus Kennedy, the Philadelphia native, the senior, back in for SMU. 40 friends and family here. Part of Kennedy's group cheering him on. But SMU, the last undefeated team remaining in the country, has a mountain to climb. Milton gave it up. DeCozy in transition. Fouled by Brown. No bucket, 2 free throws.
I think Fran Dunphy is going to be more than pleased with the defensive effort by DeCozy today. He hasn't needed to score for this team to be in this position, but he's been marvelous on the defensive side.
DeCozy does have 16 points today. Right around his season average. He coaxes that free throw home. And Fran Dunphy's team is up by 10 again. DeCozy knocks them both down. Can SMU rally in the final 2 minutes? Brown pondered the 3. Instead, he'll attack. And Brown puts it in with the left hand.
Again, you've got to sprint to the finish.
But will there be enough possessions in the game for SMU? Nick Moore keeping a close watch on Josh Brown. Under 10 to shoot. Dingle sweeping through, and he's fouled.
Can't do much
on Moore.
You can't do much better than that. You take almost the full shot clock to get to the line, however ugly.
Okay, Joe, if they can pull this off in the last 83 seconds, how far up does Temple go?
They wouldn't be in the first or the next 4 out, but they could be in one of the groups after that. Certainly be in a healthy position heading into the balance of their conference season, and it sets up just a huge opportunity for them against Villanova here in this building at the end of the month.
Yeah, February 17th, Villanova comes in.
Temple is trying to capture its 7th win over a top 10 team in the last 8 years. Fran Dunphy and his club are 123 away, a 10-point lead over unbeaten SMU. Nick Moore playing with 4 personal fouls, couldn't hit the shot, and Nick Moore wanted a whistle. It wasn't blown. Brown looking for the steal against DeCozy, and now the foul is called. Sterling Brown with a quizzical look on his face as Clarence Armstrong made the call.
I have 2 quick thoughts for you guys. One is, what a marvelous performance by Temple. And secondly, I hope the story of SMU doesn't go away just because they are no longer undefeated. How rare is it can you get to mid-late January and have 0 losses.
I can think of less than a handful of teams in the last dozen years or so who have done it. Of course, the 800-pound gorilla of last season, Kentucky, Wichita State fairly recently. Those great runs in the mid-2000s. Illinois got to the last game of the regular season. St. Joseph's got to the conference tournament in '04, but it's not very often.
A timeout for Larry Brown and SMU. 82-71 our score inside the final minute. Brown told us yesterday, Mark, he has not once uttered the word undefeated or unbeaten. That's not something he's stressing to his team, something that's easy to imagine coming from Brown, but this would be something special. The last team to be in this situation and accomplish what SMU is trying to do, go back to the 72-73 season. NC State ineligible for postseason play because of recruiting violations tied to David Thompson, and the Wolfpack went 27-0. SMU has work to do to make sure that their run continues here. You check the close calls. 6 of their wins have been by single digits. Here are 5 of them.
I think SMU, because of the undefeated season, it gave them a big carrot in spite of the sanctions. Now that's gone. I think Larry Brown will have a challenge. And his team is older, they're mature. They'll be fine, but some of the wind is out of their sails now.
They're still going to win most of their games simply because they have the top talent in the conference by a pretty good margin.
Milton, quick trigger for 3. Dingle the rebound for Temple, and a foul on Ben Moore.
Just ironic on so many levels because it was the carrot for SMU, and if Temple could have held on one time to a double-digit lead against the Mustangs last year, another American team would have been in the NCAA tournament. Who knows, maybe this launches a late season run for Fran Dunphy and company. They've got a lot of weapons, and they played without a big one today.
Jalen Bond averaging 9 points and 8 rebounds, so important in the post for the Owls. Out with a lower back injury.
Fran Dunphy, he of the erudite faction, his ability. Don't you think he would like to teach the class this Tuesday?
Again, that's only in the fall semester. If his team can pull this one off, he'd do just about anything on Tuesday. Brown lost the handle, but he was fouled moments before. That's on DeCozy, number 2 on the senior.
As Ted mentioned earlier, SMU got away with a win in December against Colorado, where they were minus 36 in three-point differential, which is so rare. Research couldn't even find a comparable game. Not so today.
Well, Larry Brown said it. He never thought that at SMU this early in his tenure, in his 4th season, that his team would be the game that you would circle on the calendar if you're the opponent, the big game for other teams. And they've noticed in the last several weeks, because of the unbeaten record, more and more teams are raising their level of play, looking to be the one to knock off SMU.
Do you think Devin Coleman wants more snowstorms?
No, I guess he'd like the game to end with the box score line exactly the way it is.
A career high 23 points, 8 of 8 from the floor, 7 of 7 from three-point land. Daniel Dingle at the line for Temple. One of 3 Owls in double figures. Dingle averaging just 4 points on the season, and he's in double digits. And Dingle just tied his career high with 14 points. He had 14 against Cincinnati in the league opener. Brown launching off the mark. Dingle the rebound. SMU swatting at him, looking for the steal. Brown has it, lays it in for the Mustangs with 18 left and a timeout for SMU as the Mustangs are down by 10.
Larry Brown still coaching to the last there, Ted.
And you wouldn't expect anything less.
No, but it's not going to change the outcome at this point.
The steal by Sterling Brown. SMU with the junior Brown, only 7 scholarship players, as they have lost 1 player to injury, 1 player redshirting, 2 have decided to transfer mid-season, and the undefeated run will likely come to an end today against Temple.
But I think all of the credit goes to the Owls, more so than a lackluster performance by SMU. The Mustangs played an average game for them. They didn't play great. Nick Moore was just okay today. Certainly didn't have the ability to carry a team on his back. But it may not have mattered given so many contributors for Fran Dunphy and Temple this afternoon. Even guys like Devontae Watts, who never play, come off the bench with a key block, a rebound that leads to a fast break bucket for Mark Williams. Guys like Williams, Dingle, Lowe, a Flackby early on. It takes a team effort to pull an upset of this magnitude, and Temple has gotten that and then some.
Temple calls time with 18.1 left. You saw just moments ago the reality is setting in for Nick Moore on the bench now for SMU. We check the American standings yet again. SMU on top. They'll drop to 7-1. Everyone else fighting for second place, but really it's first place if you look at the conference tournament.
And here's what happens, though. We'll put out a new bracket tomorrow, Ted, and Temple, presumably at 5-2, could be at the top of the league standings depending upon results in later games today. They may be more than a placeholder in that bracket, standing as the likely AQ automatic qualifier from this league as we head into a new week.
UCF off to a great start in conference play under Donnie Jones, but they'll start to find out if the Knights are for real. They're at Tulsa later today. Memphis hosting East Carolina a little bit later this afternoon as well. Josh is fouled by Jere Foster with 16.9 left.
That's his 4th. At the line is number 1, Josh Brown.
As you mentioned, Joe, Temple, if they're able to secure this one, there is another opportunity down the road next month against Villanova in a Big 5 matchup. Another chance for a signature win. This would be the Owls' 3rd win over a top 25 team in conference play, beating Cincinnati and UConn on the road already.
And some key road games that also pile up the power points at Houston, at Tulsa. Opportunities. Remember, road games counting almost 2.5 times as much in the RPI if you win them.
Foster knocks down the 3 with 9.1 to go. 9-point margin. Josh Brown fouled by Sterling Brown. The crowd is ready to celebrate here in Philadelphia. Perhaps even they're ready to storm the floor. They just want this game over with. And Sterling Brown is done.
If they come in this city in this weekend, they should have to bring a shovel.
Yeah. Well, these fans were ready to get out of the house wherever they were after 22 inches of snow were dumped on the region. A top 5 blizzard all time here in Philadelphia. Josh Brown ready to close it out for Temple. The Owls will put together what is a season-long 3-game winning streak. This will be their 5th win in 6 games. Milton from deep, left it short. Foster with the putback, and here they come. Temple is the one in 18-1. SMU tasting defeat for the first time this season.
Fran Dunphy, you took down a really special undefeated team today. How did you do it?
Well, I think these guys really hung together. They did a great job. They decided that without Jalen Bond, our leader, the next guy up was gonna make that okay for us. And Jalen was great about the whole thing too. But the guys like Devin who made shots, when you make shots, looks like you know what you're doing. And he had a great game.
Have you ever had a team shoot the 3-ball as well as today?
Yeah, I mean we've had our moments. But I thought in the second half we stepped up at certain times because they cut it to 4 maybe. Is that what it was? I forget. But these guys stepped up, made shots at critical times. I thought our defense was pretty good for the most part.
What do you do for an encore?
We got to go to ECU on Wednesday. So that's the next biggest opportunity for us. We got to be ready to go.
Congratulations. Go enjoy the win.
Appreciate it.
Let me move over here to Devin Coleman. And Devin, when did you know you were in the zone today?
I don't know. I was getting looks that I thought were good looks, and you just put it up there. That's all you can do.
Does the basket start to get bigger and bigger for you?
I don't know. I was just putting it up. If I thought I had a little bit of space to get a shot up, I was putting the shot up, and thankfully they went in.
How big of a win is this for your team?
It's a great win for us. We're kind of in that middle area, you know, where the season can go up or down, and I think today helped us. It was a good step in the right direction.
Congratulations. Go enjoy the win.
Thank you.
Temple celebrating a win over a top 10 team for the 7th time in 8 years. The final score 89-80. Coming up next, Fantasy Football Now. So let's join Robert Flores and Sarah Walsh in the studio.